Welcome to Real Estate Auctions, California style. On this day, houses are being knocked down for 40% less than their owners paid for them just a few months ago. The slowdown in the US economy, which began in 2007, has once again emphasised the contagious interconnections of globalization, both in terms of trade and capital markets, but on a scale that could dwarf the East Asia crisis.
The last time that we saw a home price fall as big as the one we have just seen is 1941. It's surprising. That was the year the U.S. entered World War II.
The so-called subprime mortgage crisis caused scores of American families to lose their homes. It also sent world stock markets into a spin, caused panic in credit markets so banks were afraid to lend to each other, and forced central banks to pump hundreds of billions of dollars into the system to stop it from seizing up.
The analogy I always use is like a car engine. Credit is the actual oil in the engine. Now there's a big crack and the oil's all flowing out of the engine, so the whole engine is seizing up.
After the World Trade Center collapsed, the US Federal Reserve cut interest rates over the next 2 years to 1% to lift the economy out of recession. With all this cheap money to lend, America's banks were desperate for customers, and so $1.3 trillion was lent in subprime loans, given to people who wouldn't normally get credit, with whopping interest rates, often up to 16%.
In the modern capital markets, risk is diffused, it's everywhere. Different investors hold different pieces of the risk, and we don't often understand the linkages fully.
The big Wall Street banks put up the massive amounts of money that fueled the huge lending surge, and then sold the debt to investors all around the world. But some linkages started to become clear when hedge funds, which took big bets on subprime loans, began to vaporise. Worried about their home being worth less than their mortgage, Americans began tightening their purse strings.
Now, the U.S. consumer has been not just driving our economy, but driving those of many others, and also some of the contagions in our debt instruments are infecting others as well.
The US owes more money to more countries than any other nation on Earth. The US also has a huge trade deficit. By its own and IMF standards, the US fiscal house is in serious disarray.
85% of capital flows from Europe, the Middle East, and the Far East is into the US. And a good chunk of that has gone into the subprime mortgage area, or the mortgage area in general. It's like the old saying about chaos theory. The flapping of the wings of a butterfly in the Amazon causes a Caribbean hurricane, and that's what we're seeing now.
I have to leave now for Shanghai.
Where is Dad off to?
He's going to earn money.
The credit crunch that began in 2007 forced the US, among others, to invest directly in banks for the first time since the 1930s. It became clear that the market had long been under-regulated, and calls for a new banking system where responsibility and stability were valued above risk-taking and profit echoed around the globe.